present in this August House. Right Honorable Speaker, although the exercise was virtually undertaken and the revalidation done, there have been a lot of public outcry regarding the manner in which it was handled. A lot of discrepancies and a lot of impropriety. People are crying, some stuff were put in.
But Honorable Singoma,
yes,
please, Honorable, we guided on how you bring such a matters on the floor. Other members come to our chambers, they sit, they wait, and we give them time to raise their issues. Now, you want to pass via the kitchen. Yeah? You want to take a shortcut. Yeah? And we shall be encouraging such a culture of taking shortcuts.
Right Honorable Speaker,
but since the minister is here, conclude it.
Yeah. Okay?
So that she can respond. But next time, don't do it that way.
Most obliged, Most Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, there have been a lot of discrepancies, as I have said, and I was wondering, wouldn't it be really procedurally right if the minister, under Rule 220, came back to this House with an action taken report so that he can explain the status quo and how some of these, anomalies are going to be rectified. Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, before you guide, can you want to make some response?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Just before you entered, the same person came to me and explained.
No.
Yes.
Honorable Minister is not a person.
All right.
It's a honorable
The Honorable Member of Parliament came to me here on my seat and explained that I have prepared the answers and have even submitted to your office booking for space to explain.
Okay.
One.
No, Honorable Minister, it's okay.
Sir.
Now I've not given you space. You have prepared and you're waiting for space.
I'm waiting for space.
So I'm going to give you space tomorrow.
Thank you. Right.
Crack, kindly capture it so that tomorrow you give us a comprehensive answer. Yes, Honorable Cyril Guad. Yes, Honorable Cyril Guad.
Right Honorable Speaker, as a follow-up of the matter we are handling right now, I'm raising a procedural issue on a matter which was raised on the floor about 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, because we had a 1-week recess, the minister was not in a position to appear. But the minister wrote to me a personal letter to explain a matter which I thought was very, very sensitive and very heavy. He wrote to me a personal letter to say that the matter cannot be responded to other than decisions which had already been taken. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm not satisfied with the response which the minister gave, and you had guided the minister to come and report on the floor of Parliament on what was to be done on the issue raised on the late Robert Ekino, who was he died when he was a minister of serving this country. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm not satisfied with this letter, and I would want to lay the letter on table for Parliament to follow up and for you to guide us on what to do, because I don't think this is happening only to Robert Ekino, the late. I think there must be so many other people who are facing the same situation. It is important that this Parliament be given an opportunity to address such sensitive issues. I beg to lay Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, if you can remember very well, this matter of Honorable Ekino, which had been raised by Honorable Cecilia Kwa, was in relation to the compensation and the ex gratia, which was given, I think ex gratia of around 30,000 when they converted into the current figure. And then also the army occupied his house for 9 years. Then they came and paid rent, but they never considered renovation of the house to leave it in a state in which it was supposed to be on handover. Then also around 2 tractors were taken. So it was all to do with pension, but with other underlying claims from the family. So I called the minister and the permanent secretary of public service. I tried to get involved because we realized there might be other Ugandans facing the same problem in your constituencies. So I wanted the minister to give an answer that cuts across. I told the permanent secretary they should look through their records and see if there are other affected Ugandans. But now, I don't know, Honorable Cicero Guar came to me and saying, do you know you've received a personal letter? I said, in your era, during your age, you used personal letters. For us, we use WhatsApp. So maybe if you are our age, they would have even sent you a WhatsApp, considering the response which I saw. That is extremely unsatisfactory. I had taken this matter to the Minister of Public Service Director to handle it. Reason being, I want to give the executive a chance to do their work. When I receive a petition and I believe a minister you can handle, I give you a chance. But to my surprise, of all ministers I've given petitions, no one has given any response. So now that leaves me, I wanted to inform you, Right Honourable Prime Minister, because you see, I save you the burden and also the burden of the House to come and debate after we say, go and handle. Yet rules allow me to forward it to you for action. Once we are not satisfied, you know, it's when we would again bring it here. So this matter, I'm forwarding it to the committee on public service to look into it, because I know there are other people affected like Mr. Ekinu, but are not able to reach or to use this platform. So Chair, I'm giving you 1 month. You study it very, very well, because the minister is saying he's tied by law, okay? So want you to come and advise the House after studying.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Most obliged.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Semuju.
Mr. Speaker, the matters of national importance, some of us have had issues with them before. I want to request you, Mr. Speaker, if the rules cannot be changed easily, to allow us to raise matters of constituency importance. Because many colleagues raise matters that ordinarily are actually matters of constituency. And people who visit your, colleagues who visit your office will come out grumbling. He allowed Semuju and he didn't allow me. My request to you is to allow and create time for us to be able to raise constituency issues, instead of hiding under matters of national importance, when actually they are not of national importance. Maybe a day in a week, so we can come here and tell you which roads in our constituencies are not motorable. Otherwise, like yesterday, colleagues were raising matters of roads in their constituencies. We all have them. So if each MP is going to be given an opportunity to speak about roads in his constituency or our constituency, it means all of us should.
Sure.
So my request to you, sir, is to create a time for constituency issues, so that we stop bothering you with the constituency issues, profiling them as matters of national importance.
Thank you,
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, the message is as given is not for me, it's for you, honorable colleagues. Yeah? But that time is already provided for colleagues. Prime Minister's time. If you check Rule 41, Sub-Rule 8B, Rule 41, Sub-Rule 8B of our Rules of Procedure provides for that time where the Prime Minister is here and is being asked questions for oral answer right away, you would raise all these issues. But you know, anyway, we will handle, because we've been handled. We will handle. Colleague, yes, Alex Ruhunda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I don't know if someone is raising an issue of a road, whether that road just stops in his constituency or has constituency. Because I thought there is a road network in the whole country, and every road matters. So maybe you can look for another example. I'm not so satisfied, because for me, I know the road networks in the country is supposed to be planned nationally, and even locally they must follow the national plans. So when someone is raising a matter of that nature that contributes to the economy, it becomes a matter of national importance.
Now you people, you've decided to rule on my. You even threaten me in broad daylight. Honorable Commander, you also want to threaten further?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to inform Honorable Semju that the nation, first of all, begins from the village. So if you say that matters coming from my village are not national, then I don't know what is talking about.
Thank you.
If Honorable Semju believes that the roads in his constituency are okay, the roads in other people's constituencies are not okay, and they feel those matters are national and they need to be presented on the floor of Parliament. The nation does not begin from Kampala. The nation does not begin from Chira, where he represents. The nation begins from Kasambia, my village, Ruegura, where I come from.
Thank you. Now, Honorable Commander has also finished the little that was left of my position. No, colleagues, I'm the one who determines. The presiding officer determines the matters to listen to. And usually, what I do, like today, I have received, from my list, we have 17 issues to do with roads. 17 issues. Okay? And each one of them is to do with the constituency. Okay? So, I cannot allow 17 issues around that. But what I do, all these issues after we compile and we pass over to the lead of government business. Those ones we don't pick. So we are going to see a war of handling, but let's balance. Let's balance. And with that, honorable colleagues, let's move. Honorable Nambozo, Florence.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Oh, no, not Nambozo Teddy. Nambozo, Florence. Yes. Nambozo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and the House, I rise on a matter of national importance concerning the Uganda Wildlife Authority and the community in Sironko District about the Mount Elgon National Park. Right Honorable Speaker, we have an issue of the boundaries. And right from 1936 to 1993, the people of Sironko have had a number of boundaries that has caused them not to know exactly where to stop while they are doing their plantations. Right Honorable Speaker, on 30th August, we held a meeting because the UA staff had destroyed food that was ready for harvest. And we asked that they halt the process, because while the government is grappling with buying food for other districts, Sironko at least had some food. But it is very unfortunate that a government entity had come out to destroy people's food. So we asked that they halt. But Right Honorable Speaker, these people have gone on to destroy food, and it is very unfortunate. My prayers that the office of the Prime Minister expedites the process of deciding on which the right boundaries are, because the people of Sironko are destroying each other people have sharpened pangas, that the UA staff should not step there. And yet we must coexist. Two, that the UA staff halts the process, the operation of destroying our people's food, because they are inciting violence against the communities. They are calling the other people to come and pick out food that they did not plant, but because these other people who planted cannot go and pick out their, you know, you cannot go and just pick your food. Right, Honorable Speaker, the last one, that the UA staff that had extorted money from the community be apprehended, because these people had been taken there for 3 months, but in the 3 months they have worked a way of extorting money from the communities. So when they come to destroy their food, the community is very hostile. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable, next time when you're raising such issues, please don't conclude on matters which need to be investigated. When you conclude that extortion, you know, took place, then you've concluded. You've not left room for investigation. Now, this is a very sensitive issue, Honorable Prime Minister, for the Ergon area. Sometime back, when I was a government chief whip, I was hosted by Honorable John Faith Magoro at Mountain Wanare in Bungoko, and we moved around. I met several people there. The issue of boundaries is very important. I might not have the right as well, but I think the issue is, who is saying you maintain boundaries of 1962, 68. Then the people are saying, no, we go with the one of 1992. You have a group which talks of 92, another one 2000 something. And when you go, if you are to go with the ones of 1968, you'll find part of Mbare city even, down in the city, is in the national park. So these are issues we've been talking about to handle realistically. We be realistic, you know, because I moved around, I saw. So, Right Honorable Prime Minister, this is an issue you need to take seriously on top of what she's saying, but you need to meet MPs from the Ergon area. You discuss this issue. It's a boiling point. You better address it, Right Honorable Prime Minister? But don't focus on what I've raised. A member raised her issues properly.
Yeah, Right Honorable Speaker. I know it is a very sensitive issue because it is touching the community, then their food, because when the food is destroyed again, we have to go and take them food, of which sometimes maybe it is not available. So I'm going to call the members of parliament and the ministry in charge of, or that is Ministry of Tourism, so that we can sit and talk about those issues, and then Ministry of Tourism has to come and expedite the boundary. Oh, I have the minister here to give some information.
Minister of Agriculture, you have some information?
Thank you, Right Honorable. Right Honorable, the information I want to give is that when we had a meeting with His Excellency about the insecurity in the Eastern, the President directed that the Prime Minister will go and sit with the leaders of Sebei and Bugisu concerning the boundaries that have disturbed them for long. So that's the information I want to give because it was public.
Thank you. Thank you. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the high-handedness of UA staff, and yet you realize you have an issue to sort out. You have not yet sorted it out regarding the boundaries, but there is high-handedness. So destroying people's crops and all that. Can you investigate that? Can you go on ground? And extortion.
I think we have to add on the issue of the people of Sebei, because she has brought that information. It will be handled together with the, I think, immediate effect with the Ministry of Tourism.
Thank you.
Honorable Prime Minister, please instruct the relevant minister to visit the ground and also investigate the allegations made against the people of Ua. Okay? To the satisfaction of the member. Colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have students and teachers from Bukedia Secondary School of Bukedia District, represented by Right Honorable Aneta Mong and John Bosco Ikojo. Today she sent me to represent her, so she's the one you're seeing here. They've come to witness and observe proceedings of this house. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Also in the public gallery, we have students and teachers from St. Clever Schools Limited. They are represented by Honorable Bashir Kaziwem Bazira. They have come to observe proceedings of this house. Please join me in welcoming them. Furthermore, colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of committee clerks from the National Assembly of Zambia. They are here to benchmark with the clerks department and to observe proceedings of this house. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Sewungu, first leave me alone. Honorable Kwizera.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Colleagues, Kwizera is from Uchimbi County constituency, which is in Chisoro district. Chisoro shares borders with the DRC and Rwanda. The matter of national importance we are raising is that whereas we have East African community that would allow free movement of goods and people, one border called the Chanika border, where there is border with Rwanda and Uganda, there is no such implementation of the treaty. And as a result, the business in Chisoro is at standstill, and the banks are threatening to close. And it has also affected the economy. Although one of the ministers said that Ugandan economy got an accident, but in Chisoro the economy is really hard. Worse still, Bunagana border with DRC is also now closed, and we seek government to involve the local communities like us to get involved in the resolution of those conflicts, because we are one people, although separated by the borders.
Prayer?
We pray that the local communities be involved under joint permanent commission that allows border communities to talk together, and even the international community of Great Lakes. That's what we would ask the ministry or government to help us to resolve these conflicts. So even when the UPDF went to DRC, we did not benefit because the insecurity is still high at the border. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, full reopening of the border. Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. And I want to thank the Honourable colleague for raising the matter. Mr. Speaker, I would beg your indulgence to afford me time until tomorrow to come here with a report regarding our relationship with the Republic of Rwanda in respect to trade and all issues, movement of people and goods across the borders. What I can assure in the meantime is that a lot of progress has been done since the reopening, but of course, when you get infected or affected with the disease, healing is a process. But what I can say is that we have made tremendous progress, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, on top of that, you need to reassure the people of Kisoro and the people across the border and the people of Uganda that indeed you're making very good progress in addressing these matters. Honourable Musira John.
Respect, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you. I raise on a matter of national importance, Right Honourable Speaker, concerning the corruption, but I have about 3 collection national water centers in my constituency and the district, and that is 1, Sono treatment plant for national water, We have one at Lasso, and we have one at Lirima. Now, these collection tanks feed 4 districts for water, knowing very well the adage that water is life, Right Honorable Speaker. The 4 districts are Namisindwa, Tororo, Manafa, and Mbale. Now, why I've come over is over the cracks around these collection tanks, especially that of Sono treatment plant. The multi-billion uptake tank is completely cracked off just because there are cracks of the landslides. So therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, my prayer is to the ministry especially to maybe move these tanks about 2 kilometers away, actually all the 3, because we have a problem of the cracks around them. And that will be pitting the 4 districts, the populations, the hundreds of thousands of people taking from this water. My prayer is to the Ministry, especially of Water and Environment, to assist National Water, which is a very good institution doing its work, but it may not have enough money to move these tanks away from where they are currently. Thank you.
Thank you. Government?
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm going to inform the ministry concerned, that's Ministry of Water, and we work together to see that the tanks are maybe renovated or moved from that place to another place. Thank you.
Thank you. You see, these are not issues which I would want to keep coming on the house, on the floor, and we clog our order paper. It's very, very many issues. So when you take action, it becomes very easy for me. So Honorable Musira John, if in 2 weeks' time no action is taken, you can come back here, or you can come back to my office, and we see whether we would require the minister now to come and report on the floor. Okay. Numbers, Teddy?
Thank you so much. Right, Honorable. The urgent matter of national importance I'm raising is about one of my constituents, Dr. Stephen Sewamba, age 26, who is volunteering at Mulago National Referral Hospital and saved many lives during COVID-19 pandemic. He was born with sickle cell disease from a humble family in Jaramba, Wama Town Council, Page District. He has struggled with life as an orphan till last year when he graduated from Makerere University at government sponsorship. Some few days back, he got an attack that caused damage to his hip bones and developed persistent severe pain, making him unable to walk and do some routine work normally. The orthopedic team at Mulago recommended cheap replacement surgery for replacing the bones with implants, which is scheduled this month, but the missing link are required funds at least 30 million shillings for implants and medical supplies. Right, Honorable Speaker, we are in a struggle as a country to breed more scientists to boost service delivery in various fields. Additionally, Stephen is passionate to become a doctor, stems from his hard life journey as a sickler.
Prayers?
May this House, under your visionary leadership, Honorable Speaker, and Parliamentary Commission, do something in form of contribution to save Dr. Stephen's life. I also interest the government through the Office of Right Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Health to join me in this noble cause.
Thank you.
I submit.
Yeah. Honorable Prime Minister? Yes, Minister of Health. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Honorable
member for the concern that has been brought before this parliament. On a passionate note, I want to add my voice to the honorable colleagues if they can also come in as requested, so that we do something rightfully to help this person. But on behalf of the Minister of Health, Right Honorable Speaker, I pledge and I call upon the honorable member anytime from here, so that we can discuss the issue of the patient. I can call in our people at the facility, and we see how we can come in to assist this person. If she can come in after here or early morning tomorrow, so that we work on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, because the care of critical staff, of your very critical staff, won't be put under, you know, in the hands of fundraisings on the floor of Parliament. Please, that one go and handle. These are critical staff. See of helping. No, Betty Narima.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the matter I'm handling is about what happened on Monday, 19th September, over the traffic operation that was really mounted. Whereas it was very important to have that operation, and I'm among those who really say that if someone is not behaving well as far as traffic rules are concerned, I'm raising over the manner in which the traffic officers with the deployment of UPDF could behave. As I left, I pray that these machines are handled well, get better as far as IT is concerned. Honorable Speaker, whereas the operation was really good, but my windscreen of my car, it was almost shattered, as the traffic and the UPDF that was deployed could just run and the kind of manner they were handling. Right Honorable Speaker, whereas we need so much the workforce to handle issues of security, like of late Honorable Alan here told me yesterday, that even he had security issues at his home. I have matters concerning police deployment and UPDF that failed a march on International Youth Day at Bulenga, when they were also celebrating, whereas those are very key matters which security forces should be handling in the country. But when you look at how they are deployed, so can we know from the Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs how he really provides for the regulations concerning deployments? And could we also know what is the motivation behind failing of different key social functions, like the football match in Wakiso that was failed by deploying UPDF and police officers? I thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you. Before the minister comes in, we have the chair of the platform on road safety.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. First of all, I'm one of those who applauds the action of the police, because, Right Honorable Speaker, we have had serious traffic matters in this city, and the majority of the Ugandans who move with impunity, and those who think they are entitled, and especially those driving the government vehicles, they go with impunity. They cause a lot of hell and mess on the roads, and we push the traffic directorate to make sure that they really stop that mess in our city. So my prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, is not for us to discourage these gallant soldiers who are really putting up sanity in this city, because people who feel entitled, there is a lot of entitlism, mental sickness, and you find everybody wants to go with sirene, everyone with sirene everywhere. I tell you, Right Honorable Speaker, we know there are very few people who go with the right of way. So it is my prayer that we encourage the traffic to move on and do their job.
I think the member raised an issue to do with the brutality, with how they were handling, you know, with how they were handling. So, government?
Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Internal Affairs is supposed to come here. It is tomorrow when he's going to answer most of the issues that were raised concerning internal affairs. So he will be informed about what has been raised by the colleague, and he will add it to that statement.
Please,
thank you.
Let the minister give us a statement on this operation so that we can all come on board and we mobilize our people for everyone to appreciate it. And if there are issues, the issues should be raised on the floor. Honorable Semuji, procedure.
Mr. Speaker, rules requires ministers to come here and answer questions. They don't require, our rules don't require someone designated outside the parliament as deputy prime minister to use parliament as a platform for training that every question you must be the one coming to answer. The rules are very specific. That ministers should come here and attend parliament and answer every issue being raised. The prime minister designated deputy is the one now answering. I don't know whether she's recreating the prime minister's time, which is provided for Thursday. So the procedural issue I am raising, Mr. Speaker, is whether the deputy prime minister, I hope I got the title right, should become a super minister answering for ministers who in our rules are supposed to be here to individually and personally attend to parliamentary business.
Colleagues, I received a call from the Minister of Internal Affairs. Today they are having a very to do with their sector in relation to IDs, to national IDs, and some of these are issues which we discussed and which we raised here. So as I understand from the communication I got, they are meeting with the President as of now. Now, the Prime Minister, honorable colleagues, you see, not every answer, because some of the questions we ask here, we go, we research, and you expect someone to right away give you an answer. But those same people also need to do sometimes research the way we do. It's not that because one is a Prime Minister or one is a minister, that they must indeed answer right away. But the honorable ministers, the attendance had improved, but now it has again gone back, you know. And of course, here, our Rule 50 is very, very clear on attendance. Resume that to avoid such a question, because what Honorable Semuji Uganda is raising is valid. I also don't envy the Right Honorable Nakadama, the position she's in. But you see, she has it standing for her government. Yes, if you allow a vacuum, then Honorable Semuji will take over. If you allow a vacuum, Honorable Semuji will take over. But he has a point in terms of ministers being here to answer their questions. Colleagues, I don't want us to be bogged down by this. Honorable Baba, we get Honorable Baba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In this situation...
and you were once a minister.
Yes.
And of internal affairs.
A powerful one, too. I supervised the toughest bill in this House, the Public Order Management Bill, for 8 months before it was passed. Nobody has that record.
Information.
Now,
Information.
In regard to the issue Honorable Semuju raised and the clarification you have given, Right Honorable Speaker, if an honorable member comes to you, to your chambers, to say, I want to raise an issue of national importance, and you grant it, is it possible to list all these requests down, then pass them to the responsible ministers so that they can go and research and work on it and give them a day or two, and then the member can come and raise it formally on the floor when the minister is prepared? In that situation, we'll get concrete answers to queries members have raised.
Thank you.
Now we raise them here now. The minister is not ready. He needs to go back and consult with this team in the ministry. So let's see how best we can arrange this thing so that we can get satisfactory answers both to the members and the service to this country.
Thank you. For your information, Honorable Baba, the member brought the question yesterday, and I passed it on to the minister yesterday. All these issues, I passed them on to the minister yesterday, only to receive, and I promised the member that indeed she would get an answer today. But then, as we were coming, I received information that the ministers had been. That's a practice. That's what we've been doing. And,
thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. In that situation, then, the Prime Minister should not be standing up to answer questions she's not fully conversant with. Yeah. Just to go and say, I'll ask such and such a means is wasting our time. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minister for Internal Affairs called me too, like he called you, and he told me he would not be in Parliament today because yesterday there was something to do with Internal Affairs that was about the passports, and it was about the passports. So he said they will be here tomorrow, which is Thursday, and it's the reason I had to stand up and defend that position, because I'm here, because I'm government.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Right Honorable, you don't need to defend your position. You're very clear. You're here in your right. You're the leader of government business. Questions cannot be asked to government, and you remain seated as if there is no government here. Let's move. Isaac Timugu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Isaac Otemgiu, Pajere County, Nebi District. Mr. Speaker, in the last 2 months, due to heavy rain around our region of West Nile has almost come to a standstill. This month and even earlier last week, the area near Pakwach Bridge along Tangi River has flooded. So we find that actually movement has been restricted tremendously. On this same regards, it is now putting a great risk to the Pakwach Bridge, which we are very afraid of what may happen to the bridge. Will raise more. Hopefully, it will be included. My prayers. I pray comprehensive report around Pakwach Nile, and the flooding problem needs to be sorted out. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, actually have a route also passing through much Lastly, Mr. Comes to you. In the next years.
These issues and pass them over to the ministers responsible for response. Colleagues, the Minister of Internal Affairs, when he called me, he was requesting that indeed, since some of the issues raised were very urgent, especially the issue of raised by Honorable Aaron Mayanja, which was very, very urgent, he prepared a statement and he requested me to allow the government chief whip to submit it on the floor for him. So please, government chief. Yes. The response, the issue they have given is on Jakana Naduri, which is not the issue which I directed yesterday. Okay? So let them come tomorrow and address the issue which I... Yes, the one of Jakana Naduri, I think is among the issues which we'll handle. And the issues, correct? Okay. It's one of the issues also tomorrow. Let's have it sorted if the statement is ready. Okay? Next item.
Item 3, Bills first reading, the Employment Amendment Bill 2022.
Yes, the Honorable Agnes Kulihira wasn't feeling fine, so she asked for permission to allow Honorable Margaret Rabshija to present it on her behalf. So, Honorable Rabshija.
Yeah, thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. This in the 9th Parliament, and it's among the business that collapsed. It's one of those that collapsed, and as per Speaker's ruling, it had been delayed. It was delayed, and we are presenting it
Honorable,
right now.
you know what you do when you're reading the bill for first reading.
Yes, thank you very much. I thank you for the opportunity, and I beg to move that the bill entitled Employment Amendment Bill 2022 be read for the first time. Aile.
Thank you. Honorable, do you have a certificate of financial implication?
Right Honorable Speaker, the certificate, the minister concerned has not yet responded, but I have a letter from the clerk. He wrote officially on 5th May, and they have not yet answered back.
Yeah, because colleagues, you know, to protect ourselves, we said once we submit a bill and we wait for 60 days, and the Secretary to the Treasury has not responded, then we consider that they've cleared the bill. Because we don't want bills to be frustrated in that manner. You receive it, you sit on it, you deny a certificate, you don't even explain, and the member remains in abeyance. So the letter was written when the clerk submitted. So May, meaning the 60 days have already lapsed. Yeah, so I'll refer the bill to the Committee on Gender, Labor and Social Development for consideration in line with Rule 129 of our Rules of Procedure. Thank you. Next item. And please, Minister of Finance, please, because I've gone an extra mile to take my own initiative to explain. If you want to deny a member a certificate of financial implication, do it in writing and give reasons. Otherwise, private members' bills are provided for in the Constitution, in our Rules of Procedure, So we do not want this to continue happening. Next item.
Item 4, response by chairperson to a question raised by Honorable Nambeshe John Baptist, MP Manjia County, and Chief Opposition Whip, on appropriation to the contingencies fund pursuant to Rule 43(1) of the Rules of Procedure.
Yes, Honorable Chairperson, budget.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and the members. This is the response. On 31st March 2022, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development laid before Parliament the proposed annual budget estimate for financial 2022-2023, which included a proposed budget allocation under Vote 130, Treasury Operations, of Uganda shillings 223.9 billion for contingent fund. This proposed allocation constituted 0.5% of the previous financial year budget of 44.778 trillion. However, on the 18th day of May 2022, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development laid before Parliament a corrigendum to the draft annual estimate for financial 2022-23, which revised the proposed budget allocation of Uganda shillings 223.9 billion to 62.068 billion for contingent fund. The justification by the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for the reduction of the proposed budget for the contingent fund was to provide additional fund for debt servicing shortfall. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the Committee on Budget is aware that servicing costs are statutory expenditure that have a first call on the budget as provided for under Article 160 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Given the constrained resource envelope and the statutory obligation to prioritize servicing of public debt, the Committee on the Budget established that it was prudent to provide that debt service shortfall. In future, Right Honorable Speaker and members, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should comply with the statutory obligation as per Section 26 of Public Finance Management Act 2015 as amended. So in short, the allocation was provided but was removed by Minister of Finance.
But Honorable Chair, the member was asking you why you didn't appropriate. So, but you can respond later because the Honorable Nambeshe called me and informed me that he had delegated the Honorable Chivumbi to raise for him supplementary questions in regard to your response.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. I'm standing in for Honorable Nambeshe under the rule. Being a member of the committee, somehow we're constrained. But, Chair, Honorable Speaker, this is the statutory command. The Public Finance Management Act states clearly no budget should pass without a contingency fund, as provided for. The word is shall, not may. It's consistent with the whole contingency fund. Now, during floods, we need contingency fund. And the best way to avoid a supplementary is for us consistently to provide money the budget. We even had an opportunity during a reallocation within the budget committee to do what the Public Finance Management Committee commands us to do. We did not do it. So it's not only just the ministry that reallocated. Even the budget committee should take responsibility for that anomaly. And I would have expected the chair budget to tender an apology, to say we didn't do a smart job, we also didn't follow the Public Finance Management Act. It is the work, I do it, am I a chairperson? So,
thank you.
So I would have expected, in the minimum, the chairperson of the budget committee to tender an apology. Never again shall we allow a budget to go through without providing for the contingency fund.
Thank you.
It's an obligation to us.
Thank you, Honorable Korik. You see, I don't want us to indict any committee, because whatever the committee did was approved by the House. Any here, okay? So, and we didn't approve that. We didn't bring in that ourselves as a House, but it's an eye-opener, Korik. It's an eye-opener, and service. We can police ourselves, and we ensure that indeed we address such a constitutional requirements. So in the next budget, it's an eye-opener. Please let's ensure that we comply with the law as suggested by the chairman of the budget committee. Thank you, Chairman. Next item.
Item 5, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs on its oversight visit to Katuna border post to assess the status of economic and commercial diplomacy.
Chair, Committee on Foreign Affairs, you have 15 minutes. Kindly do 15 minutes. Focus on observations and recommendations.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, before I proceed, allow me first table the original copy of the report of Committee of Foreign Affairs on its visit to Katuna border post to assess the economic and commercial diplomacy. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay. Also, Right Honourable Speaker, allow me lay on table file containing the minutes of the committee to that effect. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay.
Thank you, Chair.
Right Honourable Speaker, the mandate of the Committee on Foreign Affairs is derived from the Rule 187K of Rules of Procedure of Parliament, establishes the Committee of Foreign Affairs and mandates it to cover missions abroad, bilateral, multilateral, and intergovernmental relations. It should be recalled that Katuna border is an entry and exit point of import and exports through and from Rwanda. Katuna border has a distinct geographical terrain with a steep and rocky highland. Although the highlands are tourist attraction, they also increase the cost of construction of physical infrastructure. Travelers through Katuna from East African countries do not require visas to cross, but are rather required to have documents such as tourism visa or national identity cards that are facilitated by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. During the scrutiny of ministerial policy statement for a Ministry of Foreign Affairs in bracket MOFA and missions abroad, the ministry emphasized promotion of economic and commercial diplomacy (ECD) as the immediate target. In addition, it was reported that MOFA, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, was promoting regional and international peace, security, promoting Uganda's commercial and economic interests abroad, promoting regional and continental integration, promoting adherence to international law and commitment, enhancing diaspora participation in national development, strengthening the promotion of diplomatic, protocol, consular, and services both at home and abroad, promoting Uganda's image abroad through public policy and enhancing and its affiliated institutions. Basing on the above-mentioned targets, the committee found it prudent to undertake the assessment of the status of economic and commercial diplomacy at Katuna border. So we set out with the following terms of reference. The following terms of reference were set for the field. A, to assess the level of promotion of economic and commercial diplomacy at the border. B, to assess the level of engagement and role of MOFA in promoting tourism. C, establish MOFA's involvement in facilitating movement of travelers at the border. The methodology used, the committee reviewed the documents availed by the stakeholders, made the site visits and observed what was on the ground, and held meetings with various stakeholders who included migration officers found at the border, site engineer, the officials from Uganda, High Commission in Rwanda, and Uganda Revenue Authority officials. Economic and commercial diplomacy. Economic and commercial diplomacy. In enhancing economic and commercial diplomacy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other government agencies Uganda's national interest, which interests include observing and enhancing international agreements that Uganda entered into to influence exports, imports, investment, lending, and free trade agreement. The committee also learned that MOFA was prepared to facilitate the travelers who would participate at the Common Heads of Government CHOGAM meeting in 2022, which was scheduled to take place on 20th of June in Kigali, Rwanda. Observations. The committee observed that MOFA invested and it intends to invest further in trade foreign delegation visits, among others. Our recommendation. In view of the above observation, the committee recommends that the government should ensure that the MOFA diplomatic vehicles are disposed of and replaced with more appropriate vehicles. Commercial diplomacy. The committee development negotiations with the countries with countries that use and benefit from the existence of Katuna border. The interaction between the neighboring countries, MOFA and the High Commission of the Republic of Uganda in Rwanda generated commercial gains in form of the inward and outward trade. Observation. The committee observed the High Commission of Uganda in Kigali would ensure the high level of commercial diplomacy at Katuna border. If enhance economic stability, welfare, and create competitive advantage not only for people at the border but also the country at large. How commercial diplomacy has been enhanced. The committee further observed that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in conjunction with other government agencies such as Uganda Revenue Authority, URA in bracket, and the Ministry of Internal Affairs, created an enabling environment for the business community at the border. This has come with a social beneficial international business venture such as inward and outward investment as well as increased trade. In an unspecified tax-free period of time was granted to money changers at the border to enable them to transact business and facilitate travelers using that border. Government agencies, URA in particular, used its network to promote international trade and investment at Katuna border to improve the function of the market and reduce the costs of risks of cross-border transaction. In the absence of Forex Bureau, the Department of Immigration set aside some space from where the businessmen and money exchangers transact their business. This is commended because it enhances commercial diplomacy and ensures that travelers have more confidence in transacting business with people stationed in a defined place. The committee also observed that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other government agencies at Katuna enforced regulations related to health, safety, environment, and consumer protection, hence positively impacting on global trade. General observation. In execution of its duties, the committee inevitably made cross-cutting observations which were not directly under its mandate, but had a bearing on the success of foreign affairs sector as indicated below. 1. Construction of one-stop border post. Construction of one-stop border post at Katuna started in July 2014, with funds that were expected to be provided by World Bank and Government of Uganda. Amugori General Hardware, General Enterprises, the contract, but it later stopped working due to non-payment. World Bank also pulled out over the alleged breach of contract. Workers were halted until 2022 when the construction resumed. This has slowed traffic at Katuna border. One-stop border post is expected to facilitate the quick clearance of goods as one-stop center, create more employment, to house URA offices, border security, reserve facility, and canteen. To house a way bridge, store and bonded warehouses, and make easier the movement of trade crossing Rwanda-Uganda border for business. In the meeting held in that with the engineer and the supervisor of Amugori Enterprises, Engineer Eyatu, the committee heard that the building was completed and that it had already been commissioned, handed over to URA for occupation. The committee noted with concern the state of the said building. We refer you to the pictures which we have attached as annex. The building was full of cracks. The ceiling was almost falling out. Engineer Ivan Eyatu, however, informed the committee that the cracks were part of the building architecture and engineering designs. The blocks were almost detached from the other, and the facts that was not explained by the contractor himself. Our recommendation: the committee would like to recommend that the Auditor General carries out a forensic audit on the said building and report to Parliament within 6 months after the adoption of this very report. There was high cost of living at Katuna. The committee observed that the border had a very few relaxing and resting places and no restaurant where the government officials would have breakfast, lunch, and supper, yet the border was open 24 hours a day. This made it expensive for government officials who had to travel very long distances to access offices. It had been hoped that the construction of one-stop border post would come with the provision of accommodation of at least 11 staff who work at night, but this was not the case. 3, insufficiency of certificate of identity. The committee learned that there had been a shortage of certificates of identity for a long time, both at the border and mission in Rwanda. These certificates of identity are emergency travel documents issued to Uganda and non-Ugandans who cannot readily access travel documents in emergency situations. They are issued at foreign missions, border points, regional passport centers, and headquarters of Immigration Office. However, the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control, DCIC in bracket, had received various immigration information and data analysis system, MIDAS in bracket, equipment from the International Organization for Immigration, IOM Uganda. The equipment includes servers, passport readers, fingerprint readers, computers, webcams, printers, as well as the related licenses. This latest technology was expected to enable the Uganda's border post to collect, store, analyze travelers' information in the real time. For darkness at night, there were no lights, despite the fact that the border operates 24 hours. This poses a security threat. 5, there was lack of barrier gates. Construction operates in open space. There were no barrier gates, hence manpower was used. This is a problem to revenue and security. 6, non-national, non-Ugandans were holding Ugandan passports. The immigration officers expressed concern that there were non-nationals who held Ugandan passport. General observations, extension of, these are our general recommendations. 1, extension of enabling services at Katuna border. Government of Uganda should expedite the process of extending absolutely necessary services at Katuna. This includes banking services to ease foreign exchange, telecommunication, to enable faster transmission of information by various types of technologies over wire, radio, optical, or other electromagnetic system, and agriculture support program also, since the district community is highly engaged in agriculture. 2, completion of the road at Katuna in order to protect the image of Uganda and enhance economic and commercial diplomacy. Amugoli General Enterprises Limited, the contractor, should expedite in order to protect the image of Uganda and enhance the economic and commercial diplomacy. Amugoli General Enterprises Limited, the contractor, should expedite the construction work and completion of the road connecting Katuna and Gatuna on Rwanda side. The Ministry of Works and Transport should also intensify the supervision of the construction of the road to avoid further wastage of funds and ensure that there is value for money. 3, conduct a forensic audit on one-stop border post. The Auditor General should carry out forensic audit on the said building and report to Parliament within 6 months. It's our recommendation. 4, recommendation of written foreign policy. Commercial diplomacy is designed to influence the country's foreign government policy and regulatory decisions that affect the global trade, investment, and commerce. It should also be noted that the country's foreign policy entails the country's objective and activities in relation to its interaction with other states, unions, and other political entities, whether bilateral or through multilateral platform. The foreign policy agenda of Uganda states that the foreign policy is to safeguard Uganda's national interest and achieve its goals on the international arena for the benefit of people of Uganda, the region, and the international community. The government of Uganda should therefore come up with a written foreign policy which will help to streamline the main objective and guide to use diplomacy. Lastly, avail certificates of identity. The Ministry of Internal Affairs should ensure that at all times certificates of identity are available at all centers to facilitate and enable people to enter or exit from our country. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Our colleagues, reading from the different reports that we do have today, there are some issues which are cross-cutting. And I would want us to have a structured debate. So I'm going to call the chair. I need the chair to also read the next report so that we have a joint debate to avoid repeating ourselves on cross-cutting issues. Crack?
Item 6, motion for adoption of the visit to the Ugandan mission in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah, thank you. Chair, I know you have an executive summary. So the main report, the full report will be captured on the Hansard. Please use 15 minutes to do that.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the report on the Committee on Foreign Affairs Oversight visit to the Uganda mission in Kinshasa, or DRC, together with the minutes. I beg to lay. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Rule 129 of the Rules of Procedure, sectoral committees of Parliament are mandated to examine policy, bills, and budgets, initiate action programs, and monitor government's performance and the compliance with budgets and approved plans. The mandate of the Committee on Foreign Affairs covers two broad areas: missions abroad and bilateral, multilateral, and intergovernmental relations. In view of the above mandate, Honorable Speaker, the Committee of Foreign Affairs undertook an oversight visit to the Uganda mission in DRC to follow up on the key issues identified during the consideration of the budget for financial year 2022-2023 and the ministerial policy statements. The visit was part of the committee oversight activity on budget performance and to also understand the challenges faced by the mission. This report is laid according to Rule 33.2 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. And the report is structured as follows: introduction, methodology, findings, observations, and recommendations. Honorable Speaker, the key objectives of the oversight visit were was the execution of the committee mandate of carrying out oversight to follow the resources appropriated by Parliament as per Article 163.4, which mandate Parliament to monitor all government expenditure, and Rule 189 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament as cited above. The terms of reference are in the report. A brief history of this mission, Right Honorable Speaker. That this mission, commonly known as the First Congo War, by the Alliance of Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Congo Zaire, or AFDL, that brought into force former President Laurent Kabila in 1997. During and after this war, all Uganda properties were destroyed. The embassy reopened in 2007. The mission is in charge of government properties, among which include Uganda House and the Chancery Building under construction, and the current ambassador is H.E. Farid Kalisa. Currently, the embassy is housed in a rented building, paying 12,000 USD per month since May 2021, paving way for the construction of the new Chancery. And Uganda government has rent areas for the building rented, which is now stretching over a whole year. Honorable Speaker, strategic objective of the mission was promote trade, tourism, investment between Uganda and DRC, Congo Brazzaville, Republic of Gabon, Central African Republic, Angola, and Republic of Cameroon, and promote peace and security in the Great Lakes region through cooperation. To strengthen bilateral relations with countries of accreditation, for example, like DRC, to maximize benefits for regional integration organizations in countries of accreditation. To promote sustainable management and cooperation for maximum and peaceful exploitation of natural resources in the Albertine region, and to promote and safeguard interests and welfare of Ugandans in the diaspora, and provide diplomatic protocols and consular services. I've already told you about the jurisdiction, the 5 countries. The committee recommends that border demarcations should be resurrected to solve problems relating to border conflicts, especially on the shared waters. And Uganda should continue dialogue with the DRC for image sanitation and protect our nationals in DRC. There are maps that show the jurisdiction of the mission. You could read them. The mission charter is there. Yeah. Honorable Speaker, the committee establishes that the mission charter expired and that the new head of mission is yet to get a new charter that is consistent with the current NDP3 and Uganda's interest in the Congo. The charter that ended had the following specific outcomes: to engage or lobby the DRC and other countries for accreditation, to be supportive of the various peace-building initiatives or process of interest to Uganda and the Great Lakes region, to lobby DRC for her understanding and appreciation of Uganda's positions on various issues including security, terrorism, refugees, exploration and natural resources, border redemarcation and other as contained in the Gondato Agreement 2007 and other bilateral cooperation agreements. Promote exports to DRC and other countries of accreditation annually, to engage DRC and other countries of accreditation to be supportive of regional trade, infrastructure development, and other transboundary activities aimed at deepening regional integration. Handle at least 95% of consular cases reported to the mission annually, and attract tourists from DRC and other countries of accreditation annually, to acquire, develop, and maintain government property in Kinshasa, and lastly, to engage the diaspora for development. Right Honorable, when we got 4.0, Uganda House, Kinshasa, at the construction project at the Chancery building. Uganda House, maybe before that, Right Honorable, the committee recommended that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should ensure that all mission charters are updated and are aligned to the NDP3, in particular to the Kinshasa mission. The ministry should expedite the process of providing the charter, since there are many diplomatic engagements taking place given geopolitical situation and also DRS admission to the EAC. This will enable the mission to get the requisite budgetary allocation given the mandate and the wider coverage of other 5 countries of accreditation. The Uganda House in Kinshasa. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee visited the Uganda House in Kinshasa to establish and assess its condition. And during the site tour, the committee was informed that the building was brought down during the war and all properties and equipment looted and destroyed. The house used to house the mission and the chancery, but because of allocation problem and the destruction, the mission relocated to a rented building. And the Uganda House has since then rehabilitated, and is being rented out. However, though the house was rehabilitated and being occupied now, more needs to be done on the rehabilitation because some sections of the building are seen with the cracks. Our colleagues, their photos attached in this report. And the committee further informed that a total of 800 million Uganda shillings was money collected in financial year 21-22, and this forms part of the non-tax revenue. The committee is convinced that further rehabilitation and expansion of the Uganda House will enable the country to collect more non-tax revenue given its strategic location in Kinshasa. The new Chancery building in Kinshasa. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the committee visited the construction site for the new Chancery building. It was established that Uganda was provided with land on a reciprocal basis during the government of President Idi Amin and President Mobutu. This street where the property is located was named Uganda Avenue. It's a prime location because it houses other missions as well, or local embassies, and is very close to the residence of the former president. It was also established that initially residence of the ambassador. However, over time, the house was depleted and demolished. Honorable Speaker, over the last years, Parliament has allocated money to build a new chancery, office of the embassy, and construction is underway. The committee was informed that, according to the constructors, over 60% of the work is completed as per attached pictures below. And the committee commends the mission for the effective utilization and monitoring of the project. And we recommend as a committee that funds for the remaining part of the project should be provided so that government save money for renting and also have the mission in a befitting location. 5.2, challenges faced by members of staff. Availability of several travel documents in DRC, which is not the case in Uganda. This complicates both the staff and the Ugandans who work in DRC and who require consular services. Insecurity in Eastern DRC, which affects planned activities. For example, the business forum last year was postponed due to security issues. Insufficient funding affects implementation of plans in all areas of jurisdiction. Non-payment of additional allowances to additional roles. For example, the accounting officer's role has no additional payment. Poor roads, especially in Eastern DRC, leading to several curb blockages, and affects accessibility. Connectivity challenges within the country. The country is very large. Big for inland movements, which are largely by air because of lack of road infrastructure. There are challenges with other online visas, especially amongst Congolese, who may not find it easy to apply online, as well as language barrier on the Ugandan online visa application. Poor facilitation of officers at mission, inlands of education, allowances, and family reunions. The committee establishes that all foreign service officers are given only $2,000, which is not enough in many missions to pay for education expenses for their families. And uniform payment of allowances to foreign service officers across the board, yet the cost of living in different countries are not the same. Observations on economic and commercial diplomacy. Honorable Speaker, the delegation was informed that the mission in Kinshasa is not part of the mission which is considered for commercial and economic diplomacy by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The DRC was Uganda's #1 source of trade surplus in 2020, according to Bank of Uganda trade statistics. And Uganda earned $251 million in trade surplus from DRC in 2020, and $117 million estimated informal trade exports that pushed the figure to $418 million and trade earnings. This makes DRC Uganda's #1 source of trade surplus. Such trade statistics make Uganda's investment infrastructure in Eastern DRC a take. I want to applaud government for that. 6.2, volumes of trade and trade balance between Uganda and the DRC. Uganda has maintained a positive trade balance with the Democratic Republic of Congo. This has tremendously increased over time from $467.52 million to $547.72 million and to $672.39 in financial 2019-2020 and their respective years. The tables that speak to that kind of trade volume are hereby attached, and I request that we do go through them and understand. Honorable Speaker, Uganda's top destination for some products. The products trade with the DRC include cement, fish, steel products, beer, wheat flour, and rice. With the full implementation of the Parish Development Model Program, it is expected that the volumes of trade will increase, hence maintaining the positive balance trade. The table below provides a list of products that are exported to the DRC with their attendant values in US dollars. I would still implore colleagues to go through these tables for us to understand the position of Uganda with DRC. The DRC market expansion demands for Uganda's products. The committee established that DRC markets has become vital for Uganda, given DRC admission to the EAC and Kenya's recent scheme to block Uganda products from entering its markets. Honorable Speaker, the committee establishes that Uganda products have a comparative quality advantage in DRC, mainly because Uganda produces food products, beef, fish, chicken, and poultry products of a high quality than what is available in Kinshasa market. The food market in Kinshasa can be split into two: the high-end consumers, the rich and the middle class, consisting of person making at least $500 a month, and the lower end and the poor consumers, and Uganda products fit more into the first category. The committee recommends that Uganda should work on the supply side constraints to increase productivity, that they can have sustainable and consistent supply of commodities to the DRC markets. The challenge in Uganda, as established during the visit, is lack of reliable supply to almost all commodities. Uganda government should have strategic interventions to increase production to specifically target this market. The impact of Uganda Airlines. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the Uganda Airlines has also added to the economic and commercial diplomacy justification for Congo. During our visit, the Civil Aviation Authority and DRC government counterparts signed agreements for Uganda Airlines to be given more routes for the other destinations in DRC. These include Goma and Lubumbashi. This will be additional to the 5 weekly flights in Kinshasa that are currently being operated by the national carrier. In future, government needs to plan to add on current fleet of aircrafts because other countries in the neighborhood of DRC are also yearning for the services of the Uganda Airlines, and for example, Congo Brazzaville. The committee establishes that these There exists a potential lucrative market in Kinshasa for high-value items, such as spare parts and hardware, which can take advantage of Uganda Airlines air connection. The Uganda Airlines map shows the coverage of the current routes and the proposed new routes. Colleagues, the map is there. The committee recommends that Uganda Airlines should be considered as a strategic investment by adding funds for purchase of more aircrafts. The DRC market is for real for both passenger and cargo planes, given the vastness and lack of road infrastructure. Free trade warehouse and cold rooms. The committee established that Uganda the burden of transportation given the state of roads in the DRC. Government of Uganda's participation in the road projects is intended primarily to facilitate trade. However, there is urgent need for establishing storage facilities and a free processing zone. Establish warehouses. Uganda needs to get a reliable supplier who can consistently and reliably supply to the available market and meet the demand. The market in DRC is very big and therefore needs a reliable supplier. Kasini Mpondo, for example, is an effective cattle movement corridor. However, our government needs to encourage value addition on animal products than selling live animals. The committee also established that the eastern part of the DRC, where Uganda has a lot of commercial interests, houses over 43 million people. Uganda has a huge comparative advantage in most of the products consumed. The main challenge could be supply response issues and sustainability of the markets. Government has invested heavily in ensuring that security of the border and inside Congo, and this should be leveraged by benefiting from the trade and other investments. The committee recommends, therefore, that government should do more mobilization of Ugandans to tap into these potential and virgin markets now that DRC has joined the EAC community. The demographic dividend should split over the Ugandans to access the huge markets, and this requires strategy and commitment on the side of government to ensure that what is demanded can be produced in the quantities expected. The government of Uganda should also consider construction of warehouses and cold rooms to facilitate Ugandan traders. The DRC mission should be considered for budgetary allocation and provision and economic and commercial diplomacy program. This is needed to streamline Uganda's policies for consistency and reliable supplies to the regional markets. Ugandan banks should be facilitated to open up operations in DRC, especially the eastern side, to facilitate Ugandan traders and business community. 6.0, opening of the consulate of Goma. Observations. The committee was informed that Goma consulate was closed during the war and it was never reopened. However, since 2018, a number of meetings between the two countries have taken place, and engagements at the head of state level culminated into the acceptance of reopening of the liaison office in 2020 under the administration of the former ambassador. This liaison office will later be upgraded to a consulate under all necessary processes. To a consulate when all the necessary processes are completed. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. It was established that Goma has a good and strategic location for Uganda, and therefore a non-stop border point which required an upgrade to fully fledged consulate with an independent vote and its own budget and additional staff. Currently, the liaison office is managed by only one technical staff, yet the majority of Ugandans in the DRC are domiciled in Goma and other eastern parts of the country. This will enhance effective consular services and ease facilitation of Ugandan traders. During the instruction, the committee was informed that Goma and other areas in DRC Congo, such as Bukavu, Lubumbashi, require cold rooms and warehouses since there is a ready market for food, beef, milk, fish, and poultry products. The committee recommends that Goma should be upgraded from a liaison office to a fully fledged consulate to handle both commercial and consulate issues. It is of key strategic importance to Uganda's commercial interests. Uganda government has invested in road infrastructure to facilitate trade and the handling of the insecurity threats. The presence of a consulate will be key in achieving these objectives. We recommend that the consulate in Goma should be fast-tracked so that Uganda can benefit from the trade in eastern Congo and Ugandans served effectively with the consular services. The committee also recommends that The commercial and economic diplomacy should be rolled out to other deserving missions. There has been no addition to the original pollited missions. The mission should register and document all success stories of Ugandan business in DRC for the country to ascertain the value of money out of Uganda participation in building initiatives. Joint permanent commissions. The committee established that the mission has a cooperative framework which concretizes its existence and guides the activities through joint permanent commissions. Uganda has had joint permanent commissions with only DRC, and the rest of the accredited areas of jurisdiction haven't yet been able to join the GPC. Cooperation framework between countries are all present in a GPC. The GPC between Uganda and DRC is done on a rotational basis after every 2 years. The last one was in Kampala in 2018. However, the preceding one was interrupted by COVID-19. However, there is no budget provision for this activity in this current financial year. Honorable Speaker, it is important to note that there is a pending JPC for financial 2022-2023, but no funds have been provided, yet these JPCs are instrumental in enhancing cooperation between the states in the agreed areas. The JPC activity has a funding gap of 1.240 billion shillings. The committee considers the JPC as a key priority if Uganda is to benefit from having not only political and diplomatic ties, but also on the economic front. We therefore recommend that government considers funding this year's JPC since it is Uganda to host as agreed on the rotational basis. The committee recommends that a total of 1.240 billion Uganda shillings should be provided as supplementary budget in financial 2022-2023 to cater for the activity. There is need to follow up on the unsigned comparisons frameworks and document the level of implementation of the signed ones. Right Honorable. Among the diaspora issues, there was lack of consular services in Goma, where the majority of Ugandans have businesses, lack of national ID facilities at the mission, inability to vote in national elections as compared to our neighbors, the Kenyans, who vote in their missions. 8.1, on the issue of other opportunities and challenges pertaining to DRC that require the intervention of Parliament. The committee established that Uganda released Congolese prisoners, and over 76 prisoners and 264 Congolese boats were released in the name of peaceful settling of disputes between the two countries. Reciprocity was agreed upon. However, to date, Congolese government has never released any Ugandan prisoner. The mission has had a series of meetings and negotiations that led to prison exchange. The Congolese prisoners were freed and handed over to DRC authorities. The same is expected as a reciprocal, where DRC Congo authorities are expected to free Ugandans in Congo prisons. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is expected to request for a list of prisoners and inform Parliament, and Parliament can then ensure that this followed to a logical conclusion. 8.2, fleet issues. The mission has only 2 vehicles which are over 7 years old. They are due for boarding. The ambassador's car is also old and does not represent Uganda's image. The committee is concerned that even the funds that were approved budget released in the first quarter. We recommend that all development funds for missions as approved in effective operations of the missions. From the Speaker, conclusion, we thank you and the Parliamentary Commission for availing us funds to the committee to enable it execute its oversight mandate. Indeed, the visit to Kinshasa also to explore the potential the DRC mission can offer in terms of economic and commercial diplomacy. Uganda has invested heavily in DRC, maintaining peace and security, and also in opening up roads and other infrastructure to facilitate trade. In light of the committee findings, Parliament should ensure that the mission in Kinshasa is enlisted on those missions that are funded for economic and commercial diplomacy. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Our colleagues, you've heard the issues. most of the issues raised are issues because some of you colleagues who have traveled and have visited our missions, some of these issues have been coming up wherever you visit. But I think when we are structuring our debate, most of the issues to do with the first report are issues to do with the one border post at Katuna, whose loan was approved in 2007 by this House, and up now we are grappling with issues of implementation. Now I was calling here Honorable Daudi Bahati because he's the area MP to begin with, but at the same time he's the Minister of State in the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Please, the speaker is still... You people, I need to be given a small prison nearby. No, it's okay. Number two, when you look at the issues, for example, in the report on DRC, like the issue of education allowance for our staff in diplomatic missions, really it's totally laughable. Some of them are selling their property back here to pay fees. Because I got one case, I think it was in London, one of the staff completely failed to concentrate and decided to come back because the family, the money given as allowance for school fees for children, could not even pay fees for one person in London. So the family was in London. I think it was in Canada. Yes, Canada. The family he's in Canada, but the family is in Uganda. The children, you know, we make our staff run their families via Zoom and WhatsApp video calls, and yet the money needed is not much from the information I have. So, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, this is an issue we need to take seriously. You capture it. As Parliament, we engage government, we allocate money for education allowances for our staff abroad. You know, staying in New York, staying in London, staying in Tokyo, you know, staying in Ottawa. Yeah, it's really... then, of course, I would also allow Honorable Cecile Gwa, because I sent her to London, and she has a report on our residents in London, but the same in Ottawa, our residences wherever. Then, of course, consulate. Example, California as a state, if it stood alone, it would be the 5th largest economy in the whole world. California, the state of California, if it was a country of its own, it's the 5th largest economy in the whole world. You don't have any single presence there. I was in California, people were asking me, they were saying, where do you have your priorities? You know, do you want, are you focused, because the world has shifted so much to commercial diplomacy. You must make money from other countries. You must attract investors, you must, you know, and investors are like, you think we shall sit down and we research about Uganda when we have other countries that are knocking on our door every day through their missions here? So our commercial attaches and all that. So I think foreign affairs really needs affirmative action. It needs serious affirmative action in terms of support, all this money. And what is so interesting also, right, Honorable Prime Minister, we cut money for travel abroad for ministers. After cutting money for travel abroad for ministers, we never supported embassies abroad to do the duties which ministers were supposed to be doing. Now, I recently went in one of the countries and colleagues, despite what they say is my status, I had to pick a taxi from the airport because the embassy was stuck, and yet they had been informed formally that I was coming. So, luckily enough, I'm young, I'm flexible. I jumped into a taxi and I went to my Kafunda. But not everyone can take it lightly, especially in other countries. So we need to look at that. Then I have seen your recommendation saying we buy more freight for Uganda Airlines, but we have an investigation going on and a lot of issues are still there. So now it's not right for one committee to make such a recommendation. When we have another committee of parliament still investigating what is going on there. So committees, you have to be complementary. You have to be arrived at what other committees are doing in terms of their oversight roles. So, and of course, I also checked the recommendation on Katuna, saying that the Auditor General should do a forensic audit. Now, the Auditor General did some audit. Parliament, you've gone, you've done your oversight, you've also done a report. And we have recommended that again the Auditor General goes back, does another report on cracks which are very visible, and you have been told they are architectural cracks. You know, architectural cracks. And UMPs, you don't understand architectural cracks. So I think on such a matter, we really don't need, we need serious action. We should invoke Article 225.
Information, right, Honourable Speaker.
Please, who is that? Who is that on the microphone? Colleagues, please. I haven't seen who has done it, but I hope they repent. I hope they repent. Okay. You know, colleagues, it's on the right note. Yes. Article 225 of the Constitution, which gives the IGG powers, because this is criminal. Article 225, 1E of the Constitution, which gives IGG powers to investigate such a matter. And then, luckily enough, Article 227 of our Constitution is very clear. The IGG reports to Parliament. So, I think, colleagues, we should change this recommendation so that the IGG can investigate, take action, and report to Parliament in 1 month. Otherwise, a forensic audit on a crack. It should be outright. Those are I felt I should make these comments as I open up the debate. But I don't know whether Honorable Bahati wanted to first say something. Honorable will shoot down your debate. Let members first debate, then I will call you into. So, yes. So I will start with Honorable Cecile Ogwa, and then I go to Honorable Kavare, I go to Terego, and then I go to our senior former minister. Yes, then I will, and then Honorable Baba, who is a senior diplomat. Then I'll pick you, colleagues, don't mind. I joined the report so that I give you more time in terms of debate. 2 minutes each.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, first of all, I want to appreciate what the leadership of...
procedure? Yes, the procedure matter.
I'm sorry, I'm not raising a procedure on Honourable. Right Honourable Speaker, there are members from our side who were duly appointed shadow ministers. And by virtue of that, they are supposed to sit on the front bench for quick assignment. They deliberately choose to sit behind. No, it is
Minister of Foreign Minister of Foreign Affairs. Can you read your group?
I have quite a number.
Honorable Naruyima, can you read?
Including the Foreign Affairs Minister.
Please, shadow ministers, please take up your seats. And then those who are not ministers in the shadow cabinet, you also take up your rightful seats. So colleagues, the debate is on 2 reports, though the questions will be put separately.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
There are members whom I didn't know were shadow ministers. We've known today. Thank you, Honorable Chivumbi.
Right Honorable Speaker, on a light note, I feel uncomfortable to put Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi on order.
No, please.
But he's supposed to be LOP today. And I don't know why he's acting as whip. But that is a matter for another debate. But Right Honorable Speaker, the matter before us, the report on DRC and what the committee has found is very important for us as a parliament, because we know we have now shifted to commercial diplomacy. And commercial diplomacy means we should actually focus or recommend even new embassies to be created where we can generate more trade. So having a strengthened activity in DRC would be good for us in the region. I think this is important. Whatever DRC needs, I think we need to fix it. That's my recommendation, because the way things are changing, and now DRC has joined the East African community. It means that we need to focus more on DRC than other partners. But on top of that, Right Honorable Speaker, as you pointed out earlier, I was with you in the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, the death of the Queen interrupted our core work which we were supposed to do there. Honorable Speaker, you requested me to take a look at the embassy, look at their challenges. And Right Honorable Speaker, I was extremely disappointed at the way the key embassy in the world, the former colonial master of Uganda, where we have a very well exposed embassy in Trafalgar Square. In the shape that I saw, I was really devastated, Right Honorable Speaker. Recently, the wall collapsed, and when the wall collapsed, because there was too much rain, they needed over 4,000 pounds, but in the budget, they only allow 6,000 pounds for repair work. Now, secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, despite the fact that UK or the London residence, the resident is in a dilapidated state, and I understand a committee went and saw what happened. They have no place to house the ambassador or the High Commissioner. But above all, Right Honorable Speaker, do we really need embassies if we cannot fund it? Because that's the question we should ask. The staff don't have enough money, as you said. Sometimes they don't have education fund. In some cases, they don't have money for rent, and people are pursuing them. So really, it paints a very bad diplomatic picture. So I plead with the Ministry of Finance to do something to fix the image of Uganda abroad. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, colleagues, you understand the committee also visited London, and they are in final stages of doing a report. But please do a report for all missions so that we do, because we are going to repeat ourselves. They are cross-cutting issues. I have been to most of these missions. The issues are the same. In fact, me now, diaspora people, the issues facing our colleagues in their diaspora, we are their MPs. This is their parliament. So you should focus on those also so that they are well highlighted. Yes, I had a round Kabare.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee that has made the report. And I want to talk about the issue of the building at the border at Katuna. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank them because they have cited the challenge. But this challenge was cited even before. The cracks they have seen was even there in the bricks, but the contractor continued. We went there as the leadership of Kabale. We still made our report, and we were like, this building should be demolished because they were using poor quality, and they continued. Right, Honorable Speaker, up to now, the building is finished, but the cracks are all over. Right, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to hear from you, because even the engineers are saying that even if they use it before 10 years, it will still collapse. Now I am asking the committee, they have given only 6 months for the Auditor General to go and give another report. Committees have gone there, they have given reports on the same issue. How can we keep going like that as Ugandans?
Thank you.
Another point, right, Honorable Speaker, I had. Last month we were in Kenya. You know, we do exports, but they were clear on our products that when they reach at the cost, they are of low value, so they rebrand our product.
Honorable Minister of Gender, who gives certificate of occupancy for such? Because safety, is it under gender or works? Because this is the government building, okay? Let the minister help me.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Yeah. Right Honorable Speaker, under the Occupational Safety and Health Act, the ministry is supposed to assess, inspect, and issue occupation permits to buildings. Yeah. However, outside Uganda, then it is now the similar agency in that country.
Well, this is Uganda.
If it's in Uganda, then it is our mandate. Yeah, we will take it up.
So, Honorable, please take it up and update us as the IGG investigates the criminal part of it. Yes, I had allowed Terego. Procedure, Honorable Musira, procedure.
Rule 7, Sub-Rule 2, and other rules instruct us that you should preside over this house in complete order and decorum. We have had reports here. Actually, we would struggle listening even on the mic because of the incessant laughings, noises, murmurings outside. And it has been going on, Mr. Speaker. Could you, sir, with all your respect.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable John. I have been signaling whips. Colleagues just, they leave the chambers, they go into the corridors, and they make noise, and, you know, you want us to cross those corridors? Because it would be unfair for us to do that. But we need to do business here, and we shall not cross ourselves here, because some people want to make noise in the corridors. So, whips. Yes. Can I appoint Honorable Mara to help us that side? And, but also, some of you are always inside. Again, you compete with the ones outside in talking to each other, you know. Very soon we shall, if you don't change as presiding officers, we shall take serious action on that matter.
Right, Speaker, I think it wouldn't be also procedure okay for Namusira to develop listening skills. Because I know there are noises out, but he must be listening to what is happening in the house. Otherwise, the moment he continues to hear from the other side, he's not stabilizing in the house. He's attentive, more especially for the outside other than the inside. I'm not hearing anything outside, but I hear the murmurs. Yeah. So wouldn't it be also, again, the listening skills as a Rasta man? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Sewungu couldn't hear anything because he was also outside. Talking to his colleagues the other side. So, but we need to be serious, honorable colleagues. Let's respect colleagues who are inside here. We have a canteen. If you want to make noise, you just go to the canteen and you enjoy. Thank you for raising that issue, Honorable John. Yes, next was Terego.
Yeah, thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to join the rest of the colleagues in thanking the committee. I sincerely appreciate. But Right Honorable Speaker, on the issue of the Congolese detaining continuously detaining the detainees on their side, and yet Uganda has released, it's not only Congo. We need a lot of bilateral discussions. We have so many Ugandans who are languishing in China and other countries. I kindly request your office and the office of the Minister for Foreign Affairs to see how many Ugandans are there, if they could be allowed to be tried home. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, I was with you in Canada. It's so embarrassing. Our own ambassador in Canada does not have anywhere to stay. And even where the embassy is currently, it's a terrible embarrassment. A tall building, and Uganda is just having a small room up, a small section. Yet the embassy itself has been left to ruin. We need the bilateral relations. We need our own embassies, whether in California or elsewhere. It's very crucial. Right Honorable Speaker, I had a lot of meetings with the diaspora. The diaspora has too much for us as members of parliament. I kindly will think you need a meeting with the diaspora. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, capture issues of the diaspora in your next report on status of missions. Honorable Minister Shadow, you cannot discuss your report because you signed it. We recorded your submission in the report. Honorable Wachiko, now you are next, and then Honorable Baba.
Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Sorry, Speaker. No, don't worry, you forgive
Honorable,
me.
please go on.
It's in here.
That's out of the experience in the cabinet.
Exactly. I was in cabinet 10 years and over, so you get used to a certain title. But when we are here, Right Honorable Speaker, sir, thank you for the report which was read to us by Foreign Affairs. But, Right Honorable Speaker, in aviation, there are aeroplanes, then there are routes, then there are buses, as he said. She only recognized the 5. Before that, buses for Uganda were more than 5. They were about 20-something. And if we were working on an Airbus and a Bombardier, and so far you are at 5 level, when are you getting the rest? And what is the service the new aeroplanes are giving now? Right Honorable Speaker, sir, aeroplanes don't fly until they have certificates of airworthiness. Certificates of airworthiness are not valid because you have repaired a plane today. They are valid because you have repaired it today according to the manufacturer's manual, or you have kept it down for a period of a certain months, maybe 3 months, maybe 2 months. I heard the presenter saying we are going to buy more aeroplanes.
Thank you, Honorable. No, Honorable, we never go beyond because we have other colleagues who want to submit. And on issues of aeroplanes, we shall handle them when COSASE presents a report to do with Uganda Airlines. So I'll pick Honorable Baba, and then Honorable Awanyi Tony, I come this side.
Thank you,
then
sir.
Then after I come back here.
Let me also thank the the chairman and the vice for their excellent report. I have 3 issues. One, Embassies abroad are the face of Uganda. They're a reflection of this country. If it is in shambles, that's what will be portrayed outside there. And many of our embassies are in sorry state. I speak as a former Foreign Service officer for the last 30 years. Many of our government, my government, look at the issue of embassies and facilitate them properly. Let us reflect what we are outside there and not shambolic structures and poorly remunerated diplomats in very expensive places. That's prayer number one. Prayer number two, it is right and proper that the Foreign Ministry has identified commercial diplomacy as their key strategic plan in execution of their work. They need support in that area. The report clearly shows how DRC, for example, is our key trading partner right now. Bigger than Europe, bigger than Asia, bigger than anywhere else. We are trading more within the region. So why don't we invest there strategically so that we can benefit maximally from this proximity of these areas? Right, Honourable Speaker, in 1973, my first posting was to Kinshasa. And that time, East African Airways used to fly